BMT. It's my baby mama, I'm on child support. Can't see my kids, so I stay in coat. It's my baby mama, she be riding Lexus, finding sugar daddies and doing setups. It's my baby mama, I'm on child support. Can't see my kids, so I stay in coat. It's my baby mama, she be riding Lexus, finding sugar daddies and doing setups.
I got divorced in Savannah, Georgia. Judge only allowed me one phone call every 2 weeks. Never laid a hand on my kids or ex-wife. She played the crazy army guy card on me. I was blindsided by it all. Y'all get it the worst. Y'all want people to get it the worst, man. Shout out to you, my brother. That.
Yeah, and this is kind of what I was saying about, I don't know what it is in New York. I don't know what it is in Texas where Judge Vonda is. In Georgia, with these judges we got down here, it is crazy. It is crazy how some of these judges are living in like a 1950s, 1960s mentality where, the mothers are just on this huge pedestal, this damsel in distress type of thing. It's insane. Especially, you guys might not know this. There's really two Georgias. All right. There's the Atlanta and there's everywhere else. And Atlanta is super metropolitan. It's a super city. We got the busiest airport in the world. So many black people run Atlanta, Georgia, if you guys didn't know. Step outside of Atlanta, anywhere else outside of Atlanta, it's a totally different, that's the real Georgia. That's the real, down home type of Georgia that you guys might have the stereotype of. That's exactly right.
Yeah, I've been all through it.
So you show up as a black man down in Savannah, Georgia, you might get cooked up. That's exactly right. A phone call to your own children. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Man, it don't make no sense at all.
While you fight for your country, right? But let's not even get into that. I mean, it's come on.
You might have this page because you talking like how I talk, just in a rated PG manner. But thing I be saying. Shout out to the bailiff, Game of Lives Matter for the $2 donation. Check your Cash App, Judge P. Less Cash App today. And I'm looking right now. We got my boy Choo up in here with the $10 donation for Bunny Hunter Fund applying for bailiff on channel. Appreciate you, my brother. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And let me ask you this. Have you ever, and I know you had 20 years, you had to, represented a mother that you knew was a baby mama terrorist, but of course she paying you to do your job. I want to know what ended up happening with the father, and also how did you feel about doing that?
Absolutely. And this is a little bit different, right? But if you want to use the word terrorist, this would really be fitting. This lady came into my office. She was dressed really nice, and she said, "My child's father owes me child support." And I say, "Okay, well, how much does he owe?" And she says he owes $99,000. And in Georgia, especially back in the day, this was years ago. Anything over $5,000, the judge is going to find you in contempt of court and is going to put you in jail, right? And so $99,000, I was like, this guy's going under the jail. And so I started. She hires me, and I start getting into the case, and I see that this woman has filed numerous cases against this man for years, because you just don't owe $99,000 overnight, right? He had been paying for a long time, and he had been owing for years, and she had been dogging him for years. And so he would move to, let's say, another county or another part of the state, and she would track him down and file a case against him and get him put in jail. And he never had the money to hire an attorney. He never had the money to get out. So usually the judge would end up letting him out. Somebody be like, hey, judge, we got this guy down here he's been here for 3 months. Do you want to do something about him? And the judge would let him out. And when the mother would find out that the judge let him out, she would go back and file another case. Now, this lady had gotten remarried.
Lady? Yeah. I got it. I'm just saying.
I'm on that Uncle D.
You have to say it. I'm just saying. Baby mama terrorist. You don't have to say it.
Okay. Plus, she was my client, so give me a little leeway.
I got you.
Give me a little leeway. Okay. This nice lady, as Uncle D would call her, she had remarried. And how it usually works is if, let's say, you owe $10,000 in child support. If I represent the mom and I file a case against you, and let's say I charge $4,000 for the case, the judge is going to order that you pay my attorney's fees. So if you owe $10,000, the judge is going to say, okay, you owe $10,000 in child support, but now you owe $14,000 because you owe these extra attorney's fees. You owe the lead attorney's fees, because if you didn't owe the $10,000, then the mother would have had to pay the lead attorney the $4,000. So it's not fair for her. So now you owe $4,000. But if you have a man who owes $99,000, you know that he's never going to pay those fees.
Exactly.
He's never going to pay him. So in my head, I'm like, why is this lady following this man around, knowing that he's never going to be able to pay the fees? Turns out that this woman had gotten remarried and had married a man who was worth a few $1 million. And so number one, she didn't need the money because her new husband, earned a few million. And she lived in a super nice house, dressed really well, super sophisticated, but she hated this guy because the guy had cheated on her, 12 years ago. And she would not let him die. And so her whole thing, because of course she wasn't working either, because she didn't need the money, the kids didn't need the money. Her job, or her hobby, was putting this man in jail. And I didn't know this at the time that I had gotten hired, but now that I started getting into the case and looking at all of the other prior cases, it was clear to me what was going on. So we show up for trial. And the father shows up, and he's old. I mean, he just looks really beaten down, and he's old and he's skinny, older. Let's say he's in his early 50s. And I've got him on the stand. And there's really nothing to talk about, right? It's not like this whole big courtroom show, because if you owe $99,000, either you owe it or you don't. There's really nothing going on. And so I make my case and I sit down, and he shows up without an attorney. And so the judge looks at him, and the judge is like, well, $99,000 is a lot of money. Why haven't you been paying? And the guy's like, well, I can't pay. And the judge says, well, why can't you pay? And he reaches up with his hand. He puts his hand in his mouth and pulls out like his whole jaw and just kind of sets it on the ledge of the witness stand. Everybody in the courtroom was like, what the? A man pulled out his bones out of his own mouth.
Yeah, jaw surgery.
Yeah, he had been in a train accident. And where a train had hit him years ago. And so he was on disability, couldn't work or anything. So this man, he just didn't have any money. And when he pulled out his jaw, everybody was, and I looked over to my client and I said, I was like, did you know he could do that?
Of course she did.
She looked at me, she's like, he does that all the time. So you have this woman whose only job in life is putting this man in jail. She has her kids, she has her life. She's married to a multimillionaire, but that's what she does, And listen, the guy owed the money, right? So I guess legally she's in her right. But this is what it shows, that the law can be weaponized against you. The judge did not end up putting him in jail. ordered him to pay my attorney's fees, of course, which he never did, right? But she paid him, so I don't care. She just continues to lose money. She's paying, $4,000, $4,000 to put this man in jail.
And hell, to put him through hell. And this is why I call these types baby mama terrors. And I tell y'all, the worst baby mama terrors what? The ones that got money, the one that got degrees, the ones that make 6 figures, the one that got license, all that, because they got a shield to hide behind, for one, and for two, they will spend their money and go dirt broke to make you suffer. It's not always about getting your check. It's about control because of something that you quote unquote did back in the day. Now she married to a multi-millionaire, and I guess either he too stupid not to know this, or he do know. He's just a simple force and he don't care what she do. But
I don't care.
Right. So but people tend to tell me that it's not like that. No. He had to do something. He must didn't want to be a father, and he just piece of shit. So that's why she keep doing it. No, and that's why I tell women who do have a deadbeat runner, I say, you sit back worried about trying to get this man on child support to get $100 in blunt mouth. Why don't you focus on yourself, get yourself in order, because whatever you got against him, you're gonna take out on your kid. One way or another, you're gonna take out on your kid because you're gonna see that kid and think of him. You need to get yourself in order and do what you gotta do as a mother, and quit worrying about that $100 that you're not gonna get. But unfortunately, they be so much tired emotionally reacting to this dude that went on about his business, living his life to the fullest, and they setting themselves and their kids up for failure. That's why you got a lot of these kids out here that's don't have a father, and also going to jail at a young age, dropping out of school, suicide because project of single motherism from baby mama terrorists. But when I talk about this, I don't know what I'm talking about. Want to give a shout out to Dr. Thunder. I hope you got my message. Yes, my brother. I emailed you back, brother. Send me your number. $5 donation. He said 2 brothers sticking their necks out to help Black men. Thanks so much. Paying my respects. Appreciate you, my brother. Want to give a shout out to Simply a Diva. $15 super chat. We received custody in Georgia. Now in court again. Gal ruling in our favor. Now in court in Texas. Mom fight for custody. Hadn't paid child support since we got the child. $70,000 in legal fees is bullshit. Wow. Shout out to you, my sister, and congratulations. You got to come on the show also to talk about a stepmother dealing with a baby mama terrorist, because they go through the trenches too, just as much as the father, because they support that man. And shout out to y'all. I definitely support y'all. y'all are strong, because you don't have to. You're not obligated. So shout out to you, sister.
Absolutely.
You cannot make this up, man. Okay, he did that. I want to give a shout out to Sir Tice for the $4.99 donation. Salute to 2 great bros, and welcome addition to the Manosphere. What a collab! Appreciate you, my brother. Appreciate you.
Yeah, shout out to Sir Tice. He supports me too. He's over there on my channel. So shout out to Sir Tice. Yeah, it's great dude.
Yeah, another Gail, huh? Yeah. that's my district attorney on here, boy.
Gail keeps it in order. Absolutely.
She definitely keep it in order. She definitely support the team. So let me ask you this now, because let me go back to you saying you don't know about the other state, the other laws. Most of the laws are similar. Most of them go by both incomes now. Not all, but most of them go by both incomes. A lot of Black men come to me and say that the judge did it. I'm gonna ask you this.
Yeah.
A lot of Black men who deal with white women, and I tell y'all, a Karen baby mama terrorist is the worst of the worst. They tell me that once they break up, have issues, they go to family court. It's like she used the race card of being white and use her white privilege against the Black man, and the judge fall for it. Have you been involved in a case like that, where interracial relationship gone bad and child support, and the brother was basically looked at as an evildoer for being Black?
I'll tell you this, again, being from the South, interracial relationships stand out a little bit more in the South, and they are less frequent. Okay. They are less frequent. Having said that, there are some interracial relationships between blacks and whites, and you'll see it from time to time.
Right.
But honestly, I don't see a difference. I don't think it matters what color the mother is, right? The way the laws are.
Man, that's all they care about.
Exactly. That's how I feel about it. And I'm telling you this from one of the most, racist states in the country, that white, black, Asian, Hispanic, mom is gonna get that check.
Yeah. And government daddy gonna get it cut too.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
That's exactly right. So that's how I feel about that, to be honest.
Okay. Let me ask you this question. Alienation. When fathers go to court, so many guys who fought showing proof that the baby mama Taylor's not following a court order. She's alienating me from seeing my child, and I'm doing my part. I'm reaching out. I'm going over there, and she don't open the door, stuff like that. Have you as an attorney been through where the father was fighting to put her in contempt, and the judge see what's going on, but yet he turned around and basically make excuses and give a continuance and all that stuff? Did you have seen that or been through it?
All the time. All the time. Here's the thing. Judges take very little seriously, very little, because they got a lot of cases and they see a lot of BS. They really do. And so what do they take seriously? They take children being physically harmed seriously, and they take child support very seriously. We all know they take child support seriously.
Yeah, right, exactly.
If you are a man and you're not, she didn't show up, she showed up 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes late for your visitation, the judge doesn't care about that. If every once in a while she says, no, Johnny's sick or Michael's sick, you can't see him.
COVID.
Oh man, that was a huge one.
Yeah,
that was a huge one.
I heard a lot of COVID going on.
The judges really don't care if you're not getting your visitation. And if you file some type of petition for contempt or some type of petition for enforcement or complaint for contempt, a judge will, especially if it's the first time, if it has anything to do other than physical violence or child support, what the mom will get is basically a slap on the wrist. She'll get a warning. And the issue is that if you talk to an attorney, most attorneys are going to tell you to hire an attorney for your case. Oh, cool. But the problem is, if you spend $4,000 to hire an attorney to complain that you are not getting your visitation, the judge gives her a slap on the wrist and says, ma'am, make sure you give him the visitation. And she says, okay, judge, and she walks out. What happened to your $4,000? It went to right. It's exactly right. It just disappeared. So if you are not getting your visitation, if there's non-compliance with your child custody case, if it doesn't have anything to do with child support or harming the child, you yourself have to build that case up. What do I mean by that? Let's say that you're not getting visitation. What you need to do, at least this works in my state, and this is what I tell my clients to do, and it's a little aggressive, but you have to be aggressive, because if not, no one's going to take your rights seriously. If you're supposed to meet at the parking lot Walmart to get your kids and your kids aren't there, you need to call the police and have the police come out and make a report. And that's going to be super inconvenient. Number one, because let's say that it's 6 o'clock and your child's mother isn't there. So you can't just call the police at 6:01, right? You got to give her a little time. So let's say you wait 15 minutes. Now it's 6:15, 6:20. Then you call the police and they send somebody out there, but they know it's not an emergency. So maybe they send somebody out there, but it takes them 20 minutes to get there. Now it's 6:40. And now you're telling the cop what he is, and the cop's like, this is a civil matter, and doesn't even really want to write the report. So you got to be respectful, but you also have to be firm. You say, listen, and you need to show up with a certified copy of your parenting time, right? Of the court order saying it's 6 o'clock on Friday and I'm supposed to get the kids and my kids aren't here. And this is a crime. This is interference with custody. You know, you have to try to make it so it kind of seems like it's criminal, because the cop is going to do everything to say, hey, this is a civil matter, and just take it up with the judge. And you need to let the cop know, the police officer know, that this can be considered criminal because I'm supposed to have custody of my child right now, and I don't. And somebody's withholding custody from me. So you at least, I'm not telling you to go arrest anybody, but at least make a police report. And maybe they'll go back to the station and make the police report, and you have to go pick it up in 3 days. So you see all of the legwork that you have to do. And it's not, and if you go in there just one time with that one police report, the judge isn't going to do anything. So you might need 3 police reports, right? You need to show that it's not like the mom just forgot one time, because if it's a one-time thing, you're going to get nothing. What you need to show that this is a pattern, like that the mother is intentionally withholding your child from you, which harms the child. Everybody thinks, oh, if you're not paying child support, that harms the child. But if your child can't see you, that doesn't harm the child. And that's false.
That's just shame talk.
That's exactly right. If the mother does not allow you to be in that child's life, she is harming the child. But because you're a man, you need to jump through all these hoops and take all these extra steps to prove what's going on, so that the judge does more than give her a slap on the wrist. Now, the judge is never going to order her to go to jail for this, right? Unless she does it like 20 times. But at least if you can prove up your case, the judge will award you some attorney's fees, right? So you're not having to do this. But, and this is such a great question, though, Mr. Paulman. I'm glad you asked it, because a lot of guys, a lot of men will see all the hurdles, all the hoops that they have to jump through, and they won't do it. They won't do it. And so what they'll do is, you know, the mother will be withholding visitation, and this will go on for 6 months. This will go on for 2 years. This will go on for 4 years. And so then, because the visitation is being withheld for so long and the visitation is so sporadic, now there's no bond now between the father and the child. The child knows who the father is, and the father knows, okay, this is my son biologically, but there's not that father-son or that father-daughter bond, because there haven't been these frequent and regular visitations because of the mom. But let's be honest, the dad didn't jump through the hoops that he needed to enforce his visitation. Now, it's unfair that he had to jump through all these hoops, right? But he didn't. And the fact that he didn't has really harmed their relationship. So now that the relationship is harmed, it can never really be that he can fight for 50-50 custody later on, because he's not that close to his children anymore. So this can set him up for failure. The fact that judges do not enforce these agreements equally can really set a man up for failure in parenting in the long run. And sometimes that's hard to see, but I see it all the time. I'll give you an example. I do these consultations with my subscribers, right, where they can call me up and I'll consult with them.
I saw that.
And I had a gentleman who a good father, but he didn't want any drama with the mom because the mom was a little, and he had a couple of kids with the mom, and the mom was like, listen, you can see, these are twins. You can see your twins, but you can only see them in the living room of my house.
Right. Control.
And especially mothers do this all the time, especially if it's the first child, and especially if it's an infant. They will want supervised visitation. They do not trust a lot of these fathers.
But she trusts them enough to have sex and get pregnant and have a baby with them.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And she really trusts the money that come out of his account for the child support. Right. That's she really got trust in that. And so what this gentleman was doing, he was going to see his twins in the living room. And the mother was there like this, and the sister was there like this, sitting on the couch, and everybody's watching them, but he didn't want any smoke, and so he didn't do anything about it. And he let this go on for 2 years. Now it's looking like, he wants to fight for custody, but he's never even had an opportunity. He can't show the judge I should get 50-50 custody because he hasn't seen the kids unsupervised. He's more in supervised visitation land than in 50-50 land. Whereas if he would have insisted, hey, I have the right to see my twins outside of your supervision, and I'm going to go to court to enforce it, then maybe he would have a better chance. Now that some things have gone on, he would have a better chance in fighting for 50-50 custody. But he hasn't even seen these kids outside of the home. And so that's on him. And that happens a lot to men. Men, a lot of times, we don't want to smoke with women, right? And for a lot of, for good reason. A woman will call up the police, say he hit me, and you'll go to jail, right? Just like that.
Right.
And so, and also to get to really do what you want to do, to enforce your rights, you're looking at court fees, you're looking at court costs, you're looking at the service of your complaint, you're looking at the fee for an attorney. It costs money. So a lot of times guys will just go along to get along, but you get punished for that.
No, you didn't say go along to get along. Ain't that what I've been telling y'all in here? That a lot of y'all or a lot of men tend to do the go along, get along train, and you have to keep your veins cold, and you have to stop making excuses talking about I don't want to make it worse than it has to be, and that's why I tell y'all we have to speak up and tell our story, because a lot of people say this stuff don't exist, but it does, and they know it. But by you not saying nothing and putting it out there, telling your stories, or giving it to me and I'll tell it, you basically saying it is what it is. I don't want to make it worse than it had to be. And like I said, you can't be no worse being alienated, being called a deadbeat, being shamed and lied on, But back to what you were saying, when you were saying that, like you said, he's sitting there, he don't want to make it worse than it have to be. But at the same time, that judge shouldn't agree to give him visitation in the first place, with no legit reason. But they do it anyway to tickle her chin or whatever. And that it goes back to that judge, that system that is so gender biased, and they know this woman's doing it out of spite. But
absolutely, and it's that phrase about keeping your veins cold is so. It's so on point. It's so on point. But and listen though, because we shoot at these women, but I see so many men make mistakes, and I'll flip it around, and I what I said to this gentleman was, let's reverse it. Let's assume that you had your two girls, your two twins in your living room, and you tried to have the mom just go over there and show up and supervise her visitation. Do you think she would stand for that for 1 second?
Nope.
Not for 1 second would she stand for that.
She's gonna go all, even if she gotta lie, she's gonna set you up. That's what they do. Her
veins are gonna be cold. This guy, he wrote me, and I've been meaning to make a video about this, but I'm just now thinking about it now that we're talking about this. And I don't want to give the details, but basically,
I understand.
He was ordered to pay child support, and he's been paying child support. And I'll just make the facts really easy. Let's assume it's one child. The child is 24 years old, and he should have stopped paying when the child was 18. But he didn't.
No.
And what he contacted me for is like, hey, do I need to do something, or when do I need to stop paying the child support? And I looked it up, and it was 6 years ago. 6 years ago, he needed to stop, but he's been paying every month that $800. All right, but why? Because he hasn't taken the effort to talk to an attorney and say, hey, what do I need to do? Do I need to file something? Now let's reverse it. How many baby mamas do you know that are going to let $800 a month come out of their checking account needlessly for 6 years?
Right. No.
Zero. Any for anything, not even a baby mama, what woman do you know that is going to allow $800 to randomly go out of her account without knowing when the stop date is?
That's his job. That's his job. I can tell you that. That's his job to look it up and see when to stop. She's not going up there for you and say, oh, he's still paying the child support. I better let him know. No, she's going to say, this dumbass I'm going to keep doing it till that's on him.
Exactly. And when he files the motion to stop it, the judge is going to stop it, and he is not going to get 1 cent of those 6 years that he overpaid back. Not 1 cent.
And why is that? I just want you to answer that. Why is that?
Because like you said, it's his fault. The judge is going to say, listen, guy, I'm here today, but let me tell you something. I was here 6 years ago.
Yeah.
I was waiting on you. You decided not to come to me. You decided to wait 6 years. All you had to do was come to me. So for all these 6 years that you decided every single day, you decided not to come to me, you're going to have to live with that decision. Now that you've come to me, I'm going to stop it, and that's it. But you're not going to get any of that money back.
And they're not going to give you back they cut. You got to remember, they get a cut. They're not going to look out for you. They're not going to look out for the mother.
That's exactly right.
They managers. Remember what we were talking about before? Managers. I want to give a shout out to everybody up in the courtroom. We got 137 watching, 120 likes. I appreciate that. That's what I'm used to saying. We even got a 1 dislike. So it's either a baby mama terrorist or a sympathy forces. And you know what I say about that, y'all.
I don't give a fuck what you think, bitch.
Not at all.
BMT. It's my baby mama. I'm on child support. Can't see my kids, so I stay in cold. It's my baby mama. She be riding Lexus, finding sugar daddies, and doing setups. It's my baby mama. I'm on child support. Can't see my kids, so I stay in cold. It's my baby mama. She be riding Lexus, finding sugar daddies, and doing setups.